Hey, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I am joined tonight by guest hostess Kaci Rose, who is down there in the corner. At least for me, you're down there in the corner. She decided to step in. Dawn can't be here tonight. Dawn and I are like ships passing in the night lately because I wasn't here last time because I was in Greece. And so she took charge, and now she can't be here tonight because of one of her kids has a function. So thanks, Kaci, for stepping in.
Of course. I'm happy to be here.
Yep. Glad to have you. And we are here with two amazing authors. We've got Andrea Johnston. Thanks for being with us. And Adriana Locke. So I'm excited. This is our last show of 2024. And I'm really glad that you guys were able to join us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
We're so happy to be here.
So Kaci, before we jump in and hear from Andrea and Adriana, which this is going to throw me all night because we've got two A names and I'm just like, whoo. Kaci, what have you been working on? We want to get a quick little catch up from you. Why are you laughing?
Because I knew this question was coming.
And you're not prepared. I mean, you survived a hurricane and your house is still standing.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
good news.
Yes, and I had to push a book back, and I've been fighting with Amazon on whether that book is coming out in January or February. I was promised February, now they're saying January, so I'm scrambling to try to have it done by January when I was planning for February. So I'm writing Take Me to the Valley right now, and I'm not as far along as I would like to be, but I will get there. It just means I'll be writing over Christmas.
Yep. But you've got another book coming out next week.
Yes. In 3 days, December's Ride with Scar, which is the last book in the Mustang Mountain Writers that I write with Dylan, who writes as Eve. And I tend to forget because it's already uploaded, ready to go. And I'm like, now I've moved on. But yes,
out of sight, out of mind. Yep.
Yes. Yep. What are you working on right now?
I just pushed back a book because this year has been really rough, as a lot of you know, just with health stuff. And so and then I was gone and I thought I would write a lot while I was in Greece, and I really didn't write much at all because I was walking like, I don't know, more than I am used to walking. I don't even want to say, because a lot of people do walk 10,000 steps a day. But you know, when you work from home and you know, like my historic, I look on my little thing, my historic like steps taken, I'm like, wow, I barely cracked 2,000, you know, every day last week because I never left my house. So yeah, I was exhausted every night because I was getting so much fresh air and exercise that I wore myself out.
It's like a good day when you hit 3,000 steps when you're an author that stays at home all day. That's like, wow, I was really active.
Yes. So I pushed a book back too, but I am working on it and hoping that I won't be pushed too far back. So otherwise I don't have any more releases for the rest of this year. So yeah, so my year is done. But we want to hear from both of you. So Andrea, we're going to visit with you first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you write and anything else you want to share. And today, we should say, is release day. So happy release day.
Happy release day.
Yes, thank you. So I'm Andrea Johnston, and I write Small Town, Slow Burn. And I have a sweet spot for a single parent, apparently. I was going through my list and I was like, wow, there's a lot of those. And I love writing kids. So I think that's why I think they're so much fun. So I think that's part of it. Today is my release day. I actually haven't released in 2.5 years.
Oh, wow. So it's a big day.
Yeah. It's a big day. Yeah. I lost both my parents in the last 2 years. And so that kind of put a damper in my creativity and really pushed me I slowed down a lot. And, but I was really excited to be part of the Magnolia Grove series. And I had an opportunity to claim December, which meant I could write my dream book, which was like a Hallmark book. I mean, it's spicier, so it's more like a Lifetime book, but but it's a holiday background and it's single dad and country superstar and, just like all the things. And so I was really glad that this was my, I guess, comeback book after 2 years. So I'm really excited for that. And I live in it used to be a small town, but we've had a big boom since COVID. I live in Idaho. And everyone left the big states and came here to scoop up our real estate. So, so now we've grown. When I first moved here, I think our town had like 18,000 people in it, which I consider small compared to growing up in Southern California. And now I think we're at like 42. So,
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
If Dawn were here, yeah, I was going to say if Dawn were here, she lives in Montana, and she would say the same thing. That everybody moved
for sure
from California and into Montana, and their real estate prices have shot way up.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, they have, because it's very hard. You can't. We were looking to buy like a summer place in Montana. Well, never mind.
Yep. Well, great. We're really excited that you're here to celebrate your book release with us today, and can't wait to hear you read from that. And Adriana, welcome. We're excited that you're here today too. And oh my gosh, your background, is that real? Like, is that your office? Because that looks so pretty.
Well, you can't see the dust, so that's good. I was like, I should have prepared and dusted, but it doesn't look too bad. But yeah, that's my bookshelf, part of it.
Very nice. Well, tell us a little bit about you and what you write and anything else you want to share.
I've been writing for 10 years. And when I first started writing, there was an author named Gail McHugh. I don't know if you remember her, but she told me then to write what I know, and I know two things really well. I know small towns. I grew up in a very small town in Indiana, and I know big families because I have 4 sons with my husband, who I met when I was 14 and started dating. So small towns and big families are two things that they often appear not necessarily together in my books. And I write a lot of just like found family. I just want to leave the world smiling a little bit. I think after the last few years, it's been rough for everyone. And I just feel like leaving everybody, like you pick up one of my books, you're going to leave and you're going to feel good. Or that's my hope anyway. If not, then I guess I'll see you on Goodreads. I have a release on Tuesday that's a small town single mom who falls for the grumpy neighbor next door. But today I'll be talking about my Brewer family series. I'm working on the 4th book in that series now, and they are one of my favorites that I've ever written. So I can't wait to share that with you guys.
Great. Well, we can't wait to hear it. So I think we are going to go ahead, and without further ado, we will have Andrea. Are you ready? Or
yeah, I just logged in.
Okay. And just for everyone else who is joining us, I see our friend Karen is here. Karen is the queen of questions and I don't know, Kaci, if you are keeping an eye on that.
I am. So she's asked a few that I'm like really anxious to ask. So like, I can't wait.
But yeah, we never have to worry if we're going to have questions or not when we have Karen on the show. So yeah, we will get to those in a few minutes. But Andrea, if you are ready,
I'm ready.
We will let you take it away. And is there anything that we need to know going into this? Are you starting from page 1, or do you need to set us up a little?
I'm going to set it up a little bit. So I am starting on chapter 2. So we have the meet cute. And basically I'll kind of give you my version of the synopsis is, Ryan is a single dad. He's a country superstar, lives in Nashville, and his ex-wife, who they were still very good friends. They just had run their course as a couple, have a small child, and she passed away. And so this is a year after her passing, and he's working with this 5-year-old daughter to kind of rebuild their new normal, work through his grief, help her through her grief. What does he do? Like I said, I've recently lost both my parents. So this was very therapeutic for me to put a lot of it into every character. And so he needed a change of pace, needed to get her out of the the same atmosphere. So he just drove a few hours over to Alabama, and he is in Magnolia Grove, Alabama, which is a fictional town. Think Heart of Dixie kind of quirkiness. And it's the holiday season. He's there pre-holiday, right? Because he's got to be home for the grandparents, obviously. So he's there pre-holiday, and he's pulling up to the rental house and checking how they get in, where the code is, and all that. And all he hears is a woman shouting, "Steve, stop kissing the neighbors." And so here we go.
All right. On that note, we will leave you to it, and we'll see you when you're done.
Okay. Lainey. Hands on my waist and my feet firmly planted. I take a long breath in through my nose and exhale slowly. It's a struggle, but I think I can manage to not scare the man and child before me. At least I know the child isn't horrified at my lack of cardio and inability to breathe properly. She's too consumed with my rotten dog and his love for face kisses. Once my breathing is regulated, I look at the curly-haired little girl, her nose scrunched as Steve knocks her glasses askew. Been there, kid. I feel your pain. When my eyes flick to the man standing with his hand on the door handle, I quirk my head and try to figure out what his expression means. Shock that a woman in her mid-20s almost died from a light trot across the lawn? No, it's a look less of surprise and more of horror. Or is it fear? Weird. Oh no, I hope this family isn't awful. Not that I wish for the groups of partiers that invaded my safe space over the summer, but at least they were friendly. This man looks like he's in his own battle of fight or flight. Something tells me he's leaning towards flight. Until he drops his chin to his chest and adjusts his sunglasses. It's pretty bright out here, but the polite thing to do would be lift those shades off his face and give me a little eye contact. Shrugging off his weirdness, I turn my attention to the little girl. Her curly hair sways from side to side as she snuggles Steve into her chest, the tight grip on his neck causing me to grimace. So long as he doesn't mind, I guess it's fine. With a smile that most Southern women possess, I dig deep for my manners and turn back to the man who is now turned so he's angled towards the house. I'm sorry for Steve's behavior. He's normally more civilized, but I think when he sees someone closer to his size, he can't control himself. My chuckle is not reciprocated. Instead, the stranger grunts and turns his back on me completely before turning the doorknob. I put my hand on his arm, a very muscly arm, if anyone was curious, to stop him. He freezes and either shivers or shrugs off my touch. I'm not quite sure which, but it's something, that's for sure. I wouldn't do that unless you want Steve to get the zoomies. He loves a good hardwood floor, but hasn't quite learned not everyone thinks his antics are adorable. He removes his hand with the door slightly open and looks down at his daughter. Her giggles have ceased, and she's staring up at him, her eyes wide and a slight smile on her face. Like his own kryptonite, the aloofness melts away as he pushes his sunglasses to rest on his head and looks at her adoringly. A little bit of envy flashes through my mind. I was a little older than this girl when my parents died, but I remember those looks from my daddy. He had me convinced I hung the moon. I don't need to see this man's eyes from behind his sunglasses to know he's wearing the same look. Dang it. Squatting down, I run my hand down Steve's back and smile at the little girl. Her pink frame glasses are maybe the cutest thing I've ever seen. My first pair of glasses was not nearly as trendy or fashionable. Boring tortoise shell has been my standard all of my life. Sure, my current frames have a little sparkle, but only if you're up close, which nobody ever is. Small town life and all that. Steve likes you. I hope you don't mind his kisses. She shakes her head, that mop of curls in motion once again. My name's Lainey, and I live right over there, I say as I point to my house. Her gaze follows, and she looks back at me. Okay, not much of a talker. I can respect that. If you ever want to play with Steve, just let me know. He'd love someone to watch his zoomies. Zoomies? I jump at the sound and stand quickly. Muscly stranger is staring at me, his brows furrowed and head tilted. Oh, right. Not everyone has a little dynamo like Steve. Yep, zoomies. You think with those little legs he couldn't move as quickly as he does, but this guy, I say, thumbing over my shoulder like Steve has grown and is somewhere in the yard. He loves a good cardio run around the house, hence the name Zoomies. He zooms. I'm not sure what kind of response I'm expecting, but his grunt with a side of snort laugh wasn't it. His behavior is strange, but I have to remind myself that not everyone is talkative with strangers. At least the little girl seems to be friendlier. Maybe she got that from her mom. I don't know if I'm supposed to keep going. Shaking off the awkwardness, I put that smile back on my face and greet him. Hi there, I'm Lainey Whitfield. I extend my hand, but before he reciprocates, Steve scrambles off his new friend's lap and squeezes through the door, the small opening of the door. Oh, crud, here we go with the zoomies. A look of horror on the man's face confirms he's not pleased with this change of events. I can't say I blame him. Motioning toward the door, I ask, do you mind if I go in and get him? The way his eyes blink like a dragonfly's wings, I would think he's been shocked silent if he'd said anything more than a word up to this point. He steps aside and moves to the door, the younger of the new arrivals hot on my heels. As expected, Steve is on a mission, rushing from room to room while the wind he's created blows through his long locks. I just love this guy. A few minutes of zoomies and he's living his best life. After 2 failed attempts, I managed to scoop Steve into my arms and chastise him for being a rude neighbor. My mouth lifts to a real smile, not the fake one I had outside. Sorry about this. We'll have a long discussion about boundaries when we get home. Like I said before, I'm Lainey and I live next door. If you need anything, just holler. Welcome to Magnolia Grove. Thanks, and good luck with the boundaries talk. Ah, so he does speak. Good to know. Instead of responding, I smile and squat down eye level with the little girl. It was nice to meet you. Next time, we'll make sure Steve lets you in on the zoomies. She giggles, and I make my way to the front door, pausing to turn to the man standing behind me and give him a little wave before stepping outside and crossing the connected lawn to my own house. And then that's it. I hope that was enough.
Yeah, that was great. Sorry, I'm just unmuting everybody so we can chat. Oh, that was fun. That's
so cute.
A fun meet cute.
I saw actually a video of a dog running, and I watched, it was probably a reel, and I watched it like 5 times in a row. And so I was like, that's it. So there you go.
I love pets and kids, you know, when you get them both together.
Yeah.
Like my kryptonite. I love that.
I know. Same.
Well, and readers love pets. Any type of pet that you could put in, it's like, I think that's reader kryptonite. They love them.
Yeah.
Especially if the hero has the dog. I feel like or they fall in love with the heroine's pet. Like that moment when you realize they're the sucker for the animal too. It's like, you win.
I actually have a friend, and she crocheted a Steve for me. Oh. And I was gonna do a giveaway, and I can't get rid of him because he's so
Oh, of course not. No, you can't get rid of Steve.
She made him so he's like a lap. So like you put him on your lap and his little legs go out, and you can prop like your Kindle on it and just like be hands free. And so I was like, I think I'm gonna keep him.
Yeah, you need to keep him, and then you can have him pose with your book all the time.
Yes, and he's gonna go to signings with me. I think he'll be like my buddy.
Yeah. He's your travel buddy.
Yep. No, that's fun. I spent, I don't even know. I'm not sure I even want to try to guess how many like minutes today that I was supposed to be writing. Looking at like, I always get stuck on the Dodo reels where they like rescue the dog and they show the people they bring, you know, here's what the dog looked like. And then they bring it home and, you know, they give him a bath and I just, you know, there. And then, you know, once you watch like 3 or 4 of those, then that's all you see in your feed. So, so yeah, I was, I guess, attacked by Dodo dog videos today. That's why I didn't get any writing done today.
It's a very good reason, and a very legitimate one that I think happens to all of us. Mine was cat videos yesterday, so
yeah, I need to just not scroll, and then So do we have any questions, Kaci? I mean, I saw maybe a couple go by.
None of them. So I'm guessing we just kind of work our way down. I'm going to try to do the book ones, and then at the end, I think we can do all the like holiday related ones.
Okay.
So Karen wants to know, what's the spice level of your stories? Whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead.
Mine are not, people don't come to me for spice. I think that's the best way to say it. Like there are anywhere from 2 to 4 spicy scenes in my books, but I don't think that's why people are buying Adriana Locke books, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I'm known for more realistic and emotionally driven. In this book, there's one PG scene, maybe, and then one that's a little bit more. But even there's an early review that says it's open door, but it's so much about emotional connection that you are lost in it, and that's what I prefer. So I like to use it as a tool in progressing the relationship and the emotional connection, not just putting it on the page. So
Right.
I would say I'm probably like 2.5 to a 4, maybe.
All right.
If I just click on them, is that what makes it do that? Or
No, I have to
I
click
don't have
on
the fancy ones. Oh,
you don't have the
trust me.
power tonight, Kate.
Have the
Planning
power.
ahead to give you the power to
okay.
make them show up.
Okay, another one from Karen. What is the most difficult part of writing a book?
For me, it's the beginning of it. Like, I can't. Starting a book is so hard for me, and I have fought with this for 10 years. But this year, I took a class where they check out your personality and they sort of break it down into these Clifton strengths and things like that. And so it kind of helped me understand why I have a hard time. And it's because I need to know everything that happened to those characters and understand why we are where we are on page 1. And if I don't know literally what toothpaste they used that morning, I can't start it. And that's definitely, once I get past like the first act, I can write the rest of that in a snap. But that first section takes me forever. I cry every time, like just out of frustration.
I would agree. I would say, I mean, of course, I will say writing the blurb is probably like one of the hardest things. But I think that's across the board. But for me, it is the beginning, but it's the beginning in a new series specifically or a standalone. Those are really hard, which I think is why I tend to like writing interconnected series, because it's already started for me by the time I make it through the first book. So I'm like, okay, I can feed off of those things. But yeah, I mean, I've had some books where I've had 17 first drafts of the first 10,000 words, like easy, and then thrown them all away. So,
So you've got me curious, Adriana. What strength is it that you think makes that, difficult for you to start at the beginning without knowing everything?
My number one strength is context.
Okay.
And so the way it's explained to me is that the history of things is really important to me, and I weigh that really heavily, and that's why I can't start.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think. Well, I know just enough about my own strengths to be dangerous. But I don't think I've ever met anybody who's a number one context.
The only other person that I know of in the book world is Sierra Simone. She is also number one context, and I think she also has the same struggles that I do, and probably that's why.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I did that class too, and it's fascinating. I mean, not just in the writing world, especially because we're authors, but then like even outside the writing world, just knowing your strengths and just kind of what they mean and how they lay out for you it explains so much about why we do some of the things we do, doesn't it? I mean, I just thought it was fascinating.
I made my whole family take the test. It's not the Clifton strengths, but it's I'm an INTJ. I don't know what that's called. Yep. But I made my husband and all my kids, I'm like, take this. Like, I need to know how to deal with you guys, But my husband's also an INTJ. And I'm like, that's why we butt heads.
Oh, that's funny. That's Myers-Briggs, right? I think. With the letters.
Maybe. I think so. I don't know. I only know enough about this to get myself in trouble.
Yeah, that's how I am too. So interesting.
I have one more this one's from Megan. She is over on YouTube. And she says, if you could go on a double date with one of your book couples, who would it be and where would you go?
Oh, Megan. Megan is my PA. And she already knows my answer.
Oh, that's funny. She's outing
you. Fishing expedition.
For me, I would go on a double date. I don't know. I kind of love my new characters, but my character is Ashton and Jameson from Tequila and Tailgates. It's the second book in my Country Road series. And they're fiery and feisty. I could write them anytime I have to do like a bonus scene for something. I pick them. I love them. And I would go probably to a dive bar with them. She bartended at a dive bar. They sang karaoke in a dive bar. So I just go to a dive bar and have a good time. Eat some nachos. She's big on nachos.
Lose with nachos.
No, they make everything better.
Right.
I would probably go with Crew and Julia, and we would probably go to like an MMA fight. I think.
That's different.
They were some of my very first. That was like my third book, I think, that I wrote. It was called Sacrifice, and there's something really special about them to me. They're very real. They're probably the couple in my head that's the most real. Like they seem like real people, like in a different way than all my other characters do. So I feel like we're old friends, and like it would be nice to catch up with them if that seems weird.
It sounds weird, but it doesn't seem weird at all. You know what I mean? It's like, yes.
It's my third book too. And I think
that's so weird.
I found like my voice. I think I feel like if someone says what book represents you the most, people will choose other ones. And I say that one. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because I figured out my style a little bit more by then. And they really are just like my friends. Like I feel like I know them and they're my best friends. So it's pretty funny.
That book, I really, like you said, I think I got into my groove, and I really wrote that one for me in a different way than I did the other two, but I felt comfortable enough, and I was like, this is what I want to write. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. Like, I want to tell this story. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like a third book magic or something.
Maybe.
Well, there's freedom in that, right? Because you don't have to worry so much about how it will be received if you are doing it no matter what, you know. Mm-hmm. I think there's freedom in that, so... Yeah, that's probably awesome. How about you, Kaci? Would it be your third book that you've ever written? Would it be those?
I was just thinking about this. If you consider the first series that I wrote, like one, because I kind of had that before I really like got into the book world. But then I wrote some standalones after that, and it's my second standalone. So like the series is the first book, and then it's the third. It would be the third there because that's the one where it was kind of like, I don't care about the rules. This is the book that I want to write. It's, a time travel rock star romance, which fits nowhere. It hit number one in time travel romance on a BookBub, and then I had nowhere to send those readers. And I was just happy because it like knocked Outlander out of the number one slot for like a day. And I was like, I thought I had made it at that point, but then I'm like, there goes all those readers, never to be seen again because I have nothing else to offer them. Yeah. But that couple is just, like you said, it's just like you feel like you know them so much better. You didn't pay attention to the rule. Like I didn't pay attention to the rules, and it's just like that was the book that flowed. I think it was also one of the easiest books for me to write. Like I just couldn't stop writing it.
Yep.
That's how mine was. I think I wrote that book in about 5.5 weeks or something. I couldn't stop. It was nonstop. And for a person who never planned on writing a book, let alone 23 or whatever I have now, it truly is the one I also think is what made me love writing and really pursue it.
Yep. What about you, Dylan?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I always feel like the ones that I know the best are the ones that I've just finished. But yeah, I mean, I think the early ones where probably, one of the earlier books are probably the ones that I feel like, I mean, it's like they're old friends because they're the ones that like came to you probably before, you started having to search for ideas and, but you know what I mean? Like before you started thinking about, okay, let's see, like before you started thinking about tropes and how you're going to market things and stuff like that. I mean, those are the stories that are kind of like have been there for the longest time. And so, I don't know if it would have been book number 3. I'd have to think about which order I even wrote things in because because I kind of skipped a little bit. So it's like, I don't know which one I finished first and all that. But yeah, I think there's something special about the early books because you don't know what you don't know and you're kind of blissfully unaware. And so, yeah, I agree. Well, on that note, should we hear from Adriana and then get back to some questions after?
Yes.
All right. Are you ready for us?
I am ready.
Awesome. And do you need to set anything up? Or are we rolling from page 1 or?
I think I'm going to roll for page 1.
Okay.
So
that sounds good. We will catch up with you after.
Okay. This is from the proposal. Okay. Could you die quietly? Ella sighs, pulling her sunglasses down and squinting into the sunlight. And maybe do it over there, please? 2 quintessential frat boys, a label I'd bet my life on, yet feels like a disservice to fraternities everywhere, cease their complaints about being hungover. Their whining is a show, a pathetic effort to gain attention, and one we're over, especially Ella. They fire a dirty look at my best friend. She cocks a brow, challenging them right back, and waits. Lying on the chase next to her, I smirk. How many seconds will it take for them to realize they're outgunned by a 5'3" pistol with bubblegum pink toenails? 8, 9, 10. They gather their things quietly, watching Ella like she might toss them into the pool if they don't act quickly enough. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened either. Ella St. James doesn't surprise me much anymore. She carried a tray of freshly baked snickerdoodle cookies when she rang my doorbell 3 years ago. She was adorable, wearing an apron with embroidered cherries and a white silk ribbon in her hair while welcoming me to the Nashville neighborhood. It starkly contrasted with the following weekend when she took me out so I could get acquainted with the city. That night ended with Ella jacking some guy's jaw for trying to grope me on the dance floor and me picking her up from the police station in an Uber at 3 a.m. Thank you, she says, sliding the glasses up her nose and returning to her book. Las Vegas is sweltering. Blue water sparkles just inches from our feet, and I swear it only amplifies the sun's rays. We should probably get a massage or go shopping to beat the unbearable heat, but I didn't fly almost 4 hours to stay inside. I could have celebrated my new job and birthday like that in Tennessee. How do you think I would look with red hair? I ask, stretching my legs in front of me. Not bright cherry red, but a more purpley, crimson-y sort of red. No. I furrow my brows. That wasn't a yes or no question. Well, I was cutting to the chase. Her fingertips trail along the bottom of the paperback. That's not the question you were really asking. It wasn't? I settle against my chair. Yeah, it wasn't. It was a last-minute attempt at being young and reckless before I turn 30 tomorrow. This whole birthday crap has been a bit of a mind twist. I've lived the past 10 years with little abandon. I've traveled, dated, and swam with sharks, went on a 10-city tour with a rock band. I attended a movie premiere, got engaged and unengaged, and ate pizza at the world's oldest pizzeria in Naples. Check that off the bucket list. And with every year of fun, I assumed I had nothing to worry about, that I would have my stuff together before I turned 30 and became, a real adult. That was an incorrect assumption. By all accounts, I should be in a stable relationship and burdened with a mortgage and enough debt to bury my soul until Jesus returns. Appliances should excite me. I should have a baby. I should understand life insurance. But instead, I just broke up with another bad boy with commitment issues, re-upped the rental contract on my townhouse, and refilled my birth control. But that all ends in 6 hours. I have to turn over a new leaf when the sun comes up. It's time. Ella's book snaps closed. This is not a tri-life crisis, Blakely. It's a birthday. I know that, but do you? Yes, I do, I say, mocking her. I'm not in crisis mode. I'm just transitioning into this new era of buying eye cream and freezing my eggs, and it's just a little terrifying. She sighs. You've been buying eye cream for years. Yeah, as a hedge against the future, this is the future. Ella rolls into her side, brushing her dark hair off her shoulder. Well, I can't relate because I have a solid 2 years before I'm 30. Was that necessary? She laughs. You're freaking out for no reason. Tomorrow's just another day. I know, I really do. There's just this pressure to get my ducks in a row and start making serious progress, or else I'll be 50 with no husband or kids, and I want both. All I ask is that you be a little more selective on the husband part, because the last few guys you've dated, she whistles. Not good, Blakely. Yeah, I know. I know you feel your biological clock ticking or whatever it is, but you have been doing big things, she says. You're the new artist manager at Mason Music Label. Remember you, little bad girl? That's impressive. I shrug happily at the reminder, because that's true. A dream come true, really, and even more of a reason to get my stuff together. But would I be more impressive as a redhead? The answer's still no. I groaned, come on, I want to go out on something big, something fun, something wild that I'll remember while I'm taking vitamins and going to bed before 10. Ella reaches for her water. Fine, but let's find something else. Red doesn't suit your skin tone. Like what? I'm not getting anything pierced, and I don't think I'm ready to commit to a tattoo. You've been wanting a tattoo since the day I met you, she says. And as a matter of fact, weren't you looking at tattoos when I brought over those cookies? I laugh. Yes, but it's so permanent. And what if I don't want it next week? She rolls her eyes. What else is there? I ask. Let's think. Well, you could find a man with money and get a quickie wedding on the strip. I laugh again, turning over onto my stomach. At this point, that's the only way I'll get married. Inebriated and to a stranger. The guys I date aren't marriage material. I'll probably be alone forever at this rate. Hey, people find love in all sorts of ways, she says. True, but the odds that I'll find a marriable man in the next few hours is incredibly low. I fold my arms under my head. In lieu of steamy strangers with an engagement ring in their pocket, what else do you suggest? She taps a finger to her lips. We could go to a show tonight, like a striptease or something like that. It might be a way to get your juices flowing. Ooh! While lacking permanence, then just see where the night takes us. Just be free-spirited. You just want to go because there's one more way to needle Brock. Her grin is full of mischief. So, which point? Ella and my brother have been a thing for almost 2 years. What kind of thing? I don't know. I'm afraid to label it. Although I'm fairly certain they're exclusive, but they won't declare exclusivity. On the one hand, Ella is a lot to handle. She's smart, opinionated, and doesn't need a man, and she knows it. She also has a propensity to make decisions and then weigh the risks after, and that drives Brock nuts. But on the other hand, dating Brock would be a nightmare. Women throw themselves at him wherever he goes. Men stop him for autographs and to man swoon over him. And during the season, he's focused and mostly unavailable. And that doesn't always work for Ella. I watched this thing go back and forth and vow never to get into a relationship with a player, an athlete or otherwise, again. I've done that before and it didn't end well. I take it you two are still fighting, I say. We aren't fighting. There's nothing to fight about. She lifts her chin to the sky. I'm right and he's wrong, and that's all there is to it. Well, I do agree. You are right this time. Her eyes widen. You're darn right I'm right. I'm not putting up with him taking off to Miami with friends and not even mentioning our anniversary. How can you have an anniversary if you aren't officially in a relationship? I snicker. Isn't that why you always tell me that you aren't in an official relationship with him? She waves a hand through the air, dismissing my question. It's a pre-relationship, and that doesn't change anything about this circumstance. A what? A pre-relationship, the formative stage where boundaries and expectations are established so you can determine if the other person is willing to abide by them. She pauses. Brock isn't. I roll my eyes and let it go. They'll settle this before Brock returns from Miami and we're home from Vegas. I've seen this too many times to count. Then fine, I say, sitting up. Let's go to a show. But if my brother asks who idea it is, I'm not taking the blame. Tell him it was mine. I want him to know, she says. A little competition never hurts anyone. Competition for your non-boyfriend? I ask, grinning. Precisely. I shake my head as a bead of sweat trickles down my face. I wipe it away with the back of my hand. I'm ready to go in and grab a shower. And I need to make reservations for dinner. She sits up, slipping on her flip-flops. You owe me, What do I owe you for? For depriving me of my right as your best friend to throw you the most outrageous, amazing birthday party that Nashville has ever seen. She stuffs her water bottle in her bag. I'm known in certain circles as the girl who throws the best bashes. I can only wonder what everyone is thinking about this. I laugh at her ridiculousness, slipping my cover up over my head. You've thrown me a huge birthday party every year I've known you. You can miss one. It won't hurt. She frowns. Maybe it won't hurt you, but it pains me. I have a reputation to uphold. You're going to survive. I drop my towel, phone, and water bottle into my bag, and I skim the area around to ensure that I have everything. Ready? Ella asks. Yep. A bubble of excitement fills me, but the birthday festivities commence. Let's go find trouble. Ella shares my smile as we slide our bags on her sun-kissed shoulders. I spot my book under her chair and grab it. How'd that get there? As I stand, my gaze falls on Ella. Her eyes are wide and twinkling. I've seen this look enough times to know things are about to get real. What? I ask, frozen in place. Her grin pulls wider. I think trouble just found us. Oh no, this could go so many ways. That's the end of chapter 1.
Sorry, I got really into listening to you, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't
I was
ready.
like, they're coming back, aren't they?
Sorry. I was like, oops. I need to get my mouse engaged here.
I was laughing. I was over here laughing.
I know. I'm not sure what I enjoyed most, the reading, like the book itself, or the way you read it, because you just had such, you read it with expression. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for sharing that with us. But yeah, now we're all gonna have to go pick it up. I haven't read that one yet, so I'm gonna have to go pick it up and find out what happened.
Things get very interesting.
Well, they must. Yeah. All right. Oh, before we get into questions, Debbie had to leave, but she wanted to make sure that you saw that she was here. So
I love her.
And I told her that we would. So there. So Debbie said hi. So Kaci, you're up. Did you come up with some other questions? You found some more?
Yes. So these next two, I'm kind of like really interested in myself. Totally something I would ask. Okay. So both of them from Karen. And the first one is, what's the best way that you have found to market your books?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Prayer.
And how effective is that?
And how do you measure it?
That's funny.
I got nothing. I truly, I will say part of it is, I mean, I've been kind of out of the game for 2 years, right? So I've been asking everyone, like, what do I do? What do I do? I mean, do we still do this? Do we still do that? And so just, but I feel like the industry changes every single day. And you can't even say, from release to release. I mean, it varies so much, and what's popular is so fluid, and I mean, romantasy is booming, and I feel like that sells itself, and so a lot of us just don't, I mean, so I don't have any answers at all. I'm interested in the answer also.
I think the best answer is not necessarily, there are a lot of effective things that can be, but I think that the best thing overall, I think, in that kind of spans the 10 years of changes that I've seen in the world, have been making connections with readers, not just selling your book on every platform. And that's what we do. We're on these platforms obviously to sell books, but also making genuine connections with readers and getting to know them and letting them in to your life in whatever way feels safe to you and feels comfortable. But it's making those connections. And I think that's the long term, and that's gotten harder. When it used to be just Facebook, it was much easier. Or even Facebook and Instagram, but now there's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest. Like, there's all these things, and it's harder to do that. So I think maybe finding the platforms that you're best at and focusing more on those readers. But I think that's probably the most effective, not the easiest, but the most effective, probably, if you can pull it off.
I will say, as much as people hate it, is a lot of it is selling yourself in a way. It's such a horrible thing to say, because I don't mean it that way, but I live for signings. I love them. I love seeing people. I feel it rejuvenates me. It builds me. I mean, I can be completely depleted, go to a signing and see author friends, but see readers that I've known since my first book, who, and people I've never met in person. I get so excited when they look exactly the same. That's very helpful. But it just makes me feel so connected to them and to the community, and it reminds me why I do it. And I think when I am fueled that way, I am more marketable, and I'm able to give more back. So
well, I think you're exactly right, because we are our brand, so to speak. We are a representation of our book. We're the thing that people can interact with, and to think of it that way, and you're not just marketing a book on a release week. You're marketing yourself and your backlist every single day. And it's finding ways to think of it that way, I think helps, which is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agree. This one's kind of a spin-off of that. And where'd it go? Oh, there it is. What's the best money you've ever spent with regard to your writing?
This is going to sound like a silly answer, but I'm serious about it. A housekeeper.
I have an appointment with the housekeeper just after the first of the year.
And I say that not having a housekeeper, but at the times when I have had a housekeeper, it was the best money spent, because that is the thing that allowed me to enjoy my time when I wasn't writing, and I wasn't mad at everyone for, all the dishes all over the place. And it allowed me to enjoy my life. And that amount of money that I spent there did so much for my mental health, that allowed me so much more happy. I can't write happy if I'm not happy, which is, I think, what Andrea was just, has experienced here the last few years. And that, when I had that, like I said, I don't have it anymore, but that was the best money I spent for certain periods of my life when I needed that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say therapy. Being my therapist is very helpful. But I think also for me, it has been encouraging myself to celebrate the small wins. And so indulging in things that people consider to be frivolous, that I consider to be part of my mental well-being. I get regular massages. I take myself and my husband out to dinner and those kinds of things, that it's really just celebrating the small wins. And, finishing a book. And I'll be honest, I finished writing this book when we were in Vegas for Thanksgiving weekend. And that was kind of my reward. Like, I have done a lot and been through a lot the last couple of years. We're going to go to Vegas. We're going to have a great time. And I had like a 14,000 word day, which I've never done.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
coming off these years and having that was because I was giving myself the opportunity to reward myself. And I think that's been the best money I've spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are both really unique answers. I don't know if Karen's asked that question before on past shows, but that's not what I would have expected to hear. But yeah,
I mean, a good editor and a good cover designer, really.
Right. Those are,
I mean, come on.
relevant answers. Yeah.
A good assistant does also wonders, and a proofreader is helpful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Danielle said, she said, I'm a little bit late, but I'm here. And then she says, what is your favorite trope to write?
Single parent.
There she is. Okay. Yep. I was going to say, I'm looking for a question. There we go.
My favorite trope to read is enemies to lovers. It always has been. And I had never written it before, because I read, so many authors who just do it so brilliantly. And I was like, and it doesn't matter if I want them. I'm like, you hate each other, and then he's like, I love her. The end of chapter 1, like, you can't love her, not yet. But I really tried. The last book that I released this year was called The Invitation. And I was like, I'm trying to do new things this year, new tropes, new ideas. And I thought I'm going to do it. And if it fails, I'm going to do it. And once I kind of got into it, I loved it. So right now it's enemies to lovers or it's fake dating. I love fake dating.
Yeah. I love to read enemies to lovers. That's like my number one. And the third book, my favorite couple, is an enemies to lovers, brother's best friend, like whole situation, forced proximity. Like, I just threw it all in there. But I love writing single parent and second chances. Like, I just love those opportunities and things like that. And I don't know. I mean, right what my husband was a single dad when we met. So that's probably why. So, yeah.
What about you, Dylan? What's your favorite trope to write?
I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I love to write second chance romance. And I think the reason I like it so much is because of all the history and you get to, and that just comes out in the relationship, what happened in the past, definitely they have to deal with that before they can, move on and deal with what's happening now. So I think second chance is just always one of my favorites, but yeah, I do love enemies to lovers also. You just have so much fun. I mean, the conflict is built in, and yeah.
I love good banter.
Mm-hmm.
And enemies to lovers always has like the best banter.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Kaci?
Probably no surprise. Age gap, specifically right now, ex-boyfriend's father. And that's what I'm loving reading right now. Like, I cannot get enough of that trope, and there's not enough books out there. I think I've read probably all of them that are out there right now. So that's been my favorite. But yeah, age gap has been one of my favorites to write, which is probably why I have more of it than anything else in my backlist right now.
Yes, you do have a lot of age gap.
I do.
But that's okay, it's like when you find something you like, you enjoy writing it, and clearly your readers enjoy reading it. So why mess with what works?
Exactly. Okay, Linda says, and Karen said that this was a good question, and this is very subjective, and I know that. She says, what to you are the most important elements of good writing?
Oh, I don't even know where that one is.
It was up. Scroll up from where we just were. I'm going up and down. And up and down.
Okay, I know. You're all over the place. There we go.
Man, it's 10 o'clock here and my brain. I think anytime a story is written, this may not be an actual answer to this question, but
sure
I think anytime a book is written and it makes you forget where you are and you are in that story and you forget, sometimes when you're reading a book, you think, oh, I need to go walk the dog, or I need to start dinner, or I need to call my mom, or whatever it is. If a story can make me forget all those things, and that to me is good writing. It doesn't have to be grammatically perfect. It doesn't have to use the 3-act structure every time. It doesn't have to have, all the first plot point and your climax and it doesn't need all of that necessarily. Something that's good writing is something that just makes me feel like I am there and I am participating and I'm absorbed, and whatever that looks like. And I think that's why it's so subjective, because what does that for me is maybe not what does it for you. But that's good writing.
Yeah. I think I have 2 answers, very similar, but one is if I don't skim, right? Sometimes I get into a story and I'm like, okay, they're doing it again. Okay. And then I just kind of, so for me, part of it is that I don't skim, and I like the trifecta. I like to laugh and tear up. And then my husband is getting ice. Sorry. And so I like to laugh. I like to tear up. I mean, I like to make my readers cry, but I prefer to just tear up. And then I just want to end it feeling good. And if I can do those 3 things when I write a story, when I read a story, then I call that a win.
Megan has, sorry, my phone. I thought I had it on silent. Megan has one just above that says, what's the cheesiest love line you've written or loved writing?
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, they all exhale a breath they didn't know they were holding. I mean, there's that. That's pretty cheesy.
Doesn't that happen to you in real life? Don't you let out the breath you didn't know you were holding like multiple times a day?
Yes. When I exercise, I hold my breath. And every time I've had a trainer, they're like, you need to breathe. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not dead. So clearly I'm breathing. But I really don't exhale. So yes, it happens for real.
It
It's just
happens. Yeah.
not like in the books.
I've written, there's probably 10 in every book. I don't even know where to start with that one.
I mean, I think loved writing for me is I love the declaration. And I don't have a favorite one. I just love when they have that moment where usually it's the hero is like I love you. Like you, it's you kind of thing. I love that moment. I actually, in this story that released today, there's a moment where he has an opportunity to go do something big. It's very popular. And he's like, well, I don't think I'm going to do it. And she goes, what are you talking about? Like, this is a huge thing. And he's like, I mean, not really. He's like, you're more important. And she's like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You need to go do this. And so to me, like those moments are the ones that I love writing, where he's telling her without telling her, like, I'm choosing you. I like that I choose you moment. So
yeah.
Oh, when he so I had in my book Crank, at the end, spoiler, she has this thing where she talks about always wanting a tree house when she was a little girl, because she just loves tree houses. And at the very end of that book, when he's a really grumpy sort of, mad at the world hero, like a blue collar guy. And when he's trying to like tell her he loves her, and he sort of just puts her in the truck and he takes her into the, on this little drive, and he takes her to this treehouse that he's been building her over the last, however long. And she realizes then that that's, he does love her, So I think the same thing. Like, I think not necessarily like a cheesy line, but like a scene that where he's trying to like communicate, because guys aren't always great with words.
I think it goes to those like love languages, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like we write like, because we show, not tell, right? So we're like, here, let me show you acts of service. Let me show you I love you.
No. Good answers. All right. We are getting close on time. So I think, is there maybe one more question that you want to do before we kind of wrap things up?
Let's do one of the holiday ones that came in. Real or fake Christmas tree?
Fake. I'm not picking up those things for a year.
For real. I learned that all trees are real. Some of them are just artificial. Okay. I learned that in a decorating thing. We heat with a wood stove. It gets very cold where I live. So I have to have an artificial tree. And that's actually behind me. My husband gifted me a brand new, like fancy, fluffy, pretty one. And I really didn't even want to put decorations on it because it was just pretty.
He was telling you he loves you.
He was. I came home, I heard the ring and I go, what did you get? Like an appliance? There was this huge box. And I walked in the room and he was fluffing it. And I was like,
oh. Yeah. So hero.
That's very sweet.
That's such a hero thing. Somebody asked a question like, where do you, I saw it earlier. I don't know who it was, but it was something like, what is your, where do you find your inspiration for your like romances? Your husband buys you Christmas trees.
Yeah. He's legit a single dad. We've been married 25 years. Like he's buying me trees.
There you go. He's a keeper when he buys you trees.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got to keep him.
All right. Well, we are at time. Real quick before we go, I just want to remind everybody that we've got an awesome giveaway going on the Romance Happy Hour page. Adriana, you've got a signed paperback of, you were giving people a choice of covers, right?
I think so. I think so. I have two covers. I have a man cover and a special edition. So.
Okay, so we've got that up for grabs. And then, Andrea, I think you had a couple of e-copies of your book that you were giving away.
Of today's release, yes.
Yep.
3 copies. Yep.
So make sure you stop by the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page to take a look at that. And But yeah, this is our last show of 2024. We do have a holiday party, though, coming up next weekend that we're doing we have a Facebook group. We can't do it on the page because we can't let everybody post to the page, but it will be in the Romance Happy Hour Book Club Facebook group. So if you are interested in that, we will have, we've invited all of our past featured authors to come and stop by with the game or a giveaway or whatever, something fun for the holidays. So yeah, we hope we see you there. And as for Andrea and Adriana, thank you so much for being with us tonight. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully we did Dawn proud. And thanks, Kaci, for stepping in. We really appreciate it. So yeah, before we head out, is there any place where you want to tell people where's the best place to find you? So Andrea, where do you mostly hang out if people are looking to connect?
I'm mostly in my group. Yeah.
Okay, Facebook group.
Yes, Andrea Johnston, Sassy Romantics.
Cute.
I did a poll. Apparently, I'm sassy, so we have a Sassy Romantics. So there you go.
Fantastic. And Adriana, how about you?
I have a Facebook group, Books by Adriana Locke, and that's my favorite place. And then I'm on Instagram a lot. I'm author Adriana Locke there.
Okay, great. And Kaci,
Yes.
where's the best place for people to find you when you're not guest hostessing and actually writing and promoting books? Where's the best place for people to find you?
My Facebook group as well, Kaci Roses. That one's where I kind of pop in when I'm short on time. But then also over on TikTok, for as long as it's going to be around, you can find me over there too, posting about my books, or answering questions and things like that as well.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks everybody who joined us tonight and is watching. Hope everybody has fantastic holidays. And Dawn and I will be back the second Thursday in January to kick off our 2025 season. And we'll see you then. So thanks everybody. Have a happy, I can't talk. Have a happy holiday. That was a lot of H's.
You too.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.